Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. It's our final Sunday of May, and I have a guest, a surprise guest that's going to be speaking today. If you've been to her home, you know who this is because I'm in this beautiful, lovely home. But I'm going to keep it a surprise. We're going to do our opening song, which is I Love Myself, The Way I Am, by Jeanne Josephs. So, hopefully you all know it. I love myself the way I am. There's nothing I need to change. I'll always be the perfect me. There's nothing to rearrange. I'm beautiful. I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love you just the way you are. There's nothing you need to do. When I feel the love inside of me, it's easy to love you. Behind your fears, your rage, your tears, I see your shining star, and I love you just the way you are. I love the world the way it is, 'cause I can clearly see that all the things I judge are done by people just like me. So till the birth of peace on earth that only love can bring, I'll help it grow by loving everything. I love myself the way I am, and still I want to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love myself just the way I am. And let's go into opening prayer. Deep breaths. Father, Mother God, you are the air that I breathe. Everywhere we look, you are there. Even when we look inside of ourselves, you are there. And we are one. And so we take that journey into our kingdom of heaven within, as Jesus called it. And we'll take some time to just feel your presence. Feel the presence of God inside. Feel that current of love and light running through you. Unchangeable. It's the only thing that's real is this God of love within you. And when we align in this space, we truly are one with God. Alchemy happens, magic happens, mastery happens when we're in this space. When we engage in our faith and know that this is true, we indeed are finding ourselves in the life that we want to live. Father, we are so grateful for this life, for this opportunity to commune as a community with each other in this space with like minds. We're grateful for this community of unity of Sun Lakes. We're grateful for the health, the vibrant lives that each of us have and enjoy, and our blessings in abundance. And I see everyone enjoying this beautiful Sunday, last Sunday of May. And I thank you for those in our community that are experiencing healing. Thank you so much. And so it is.
So it is.
Now, it is my privilege to introduce you to our guest speaker today, which is Lois Valleau, who moved from Seattle to Sun Lakes in 1994. She began attending All Faiths Church, which separated into two churches, and she began attending Desert Chapel, which then eventually became Unity of Sun Lakes. Lois has been an active member of our community, and she has served on the Unity Explorers for over 10 years. She's been on the prayer team for over 10 years. She served on 2 ministerial search committees. She served as our board president. And she truly, truly demonstrates love for unity. And she supports us whenever she can. And so I am so excited because Lois is going to demonstrate her life as a spiritual master. Help me welcome Lois Valleau.
Thank you, Jeanne. Good morning, everyone. So nice to be here with you. We've really been blessed this month of May with the teachings about spiritual mastery, going all the way from the victim to the mastery itself. And in last week's lesson, Jeanne reminded us that life is eternal. However, our human experience is finite. I do believe that our life is eternal, and that through many lifetimes we are offered opportunities to grow spiritually. I also believe that we are given this life right here and now to expand our awareness of God. I believe that we each have guardian angels and guides that are with us from the time that we're born, all through this journey we call life. We may not be aware of them, but I believe they're there, and they're willing to help us. Sometimes they need asking. This morning I'd like to share just a bit of my journey towards spiritual mastery. Mine might be very different from yours, as each person's journey is unique, and it's really important to their spiritual growth. So being born into an Army family, moving and traveling became second nature to us. I attended 14 schools before I got out of high school. Our family really had no religious nor spiritual practices. I can't ever remember there being a conversation about God, whether there was one, whether there were angels, nothing of that kind. However, wherever we went, we did create community. And as much as I disliked leaving my friends, I was always anxious to get to the next place and meet new people. I'd say it was a pretty typical military upbringing. I married young, and we had our family soon after. I had 3 little kids, and we really got immersed in from toddlers to elementary school and seeing them try their hand at this and the other, and we were quite happy. But I noticed then when the kids went into middle school that we had an unwanted visitor in our home, and its name was alcoholism. We all tried to cope as best we could, but at times it was just pure chaos. If only he quit drinking, I think. But he really wasn't interested in that. And I began to feel more and more alone and even trapped. Someone suggested I go to Al-Anon, and desperate I did. Now, Al-Anon is a peer-based group for families of alcoholics. But I went there so that I could learn how to make him stop drinking, and then our life would be fine. But what I discovered was that his drinking was his responsibility, and my responsibility was to give up trying to control everything. In fact, I was the only person that I could control. In Al-Anon, they had slogans such as, "One day at a time," "Let go and let God," "Easy does it." That's what I was being anchored to. And I learned to use affirmations, like "Every person I meet today speaks with joy," or "Every day in every way I get better and better." So the first step in Al-Anon is I admitted I was powerless over alcohol and that my life had become unmanageable. Well, that one was easy for me because I was living it. But then the second step came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. Now, when they said that greater than myself, I knew they were talking about God. But I didn't know for sure if there was a God. Because really, if there was, why was I living in this hell? I'm in my middle 30s, and this is the first time I'd ever really considered that there was something outside of myself that could be supporting me or would even want to help me. And as I let that idea soak in, I began to hope it was true. Al-Anon suggested that we meditate, and I learned how to meditate, and I would find moments of peace. So in Al-Anon, my spirit was awakening. Who led me to Al-Anon? I really don't know. But after a couple years of studying and practicing, I knew I could no longer live with the effects of alcohol. And without a plan or any direction, I said, "Get out, I'm done." So here I was, no job, no money, and no hope. And I sank into a deep depression. Still, I knew it was the right decision. After wallowing in self-pity for a couple months, I knew I had to get a job. My husband wasn't going to continue paying the bills. And I did not want to go job hunting. But anyway, one day I picked up the phone and I called a former employer and said, "Would you give me a reference so I can get a job?" And he says, "Oh, Lois, are you going back to work?" And I said, "Yes, I'm going back to work." And he said, "Well, your job that you had here as office manager is open. Come back here." And I don't know where this voice came from, but I heard myself saying, "Well, yeah, I'd like to, but I need to make at least twice what you were paying me before." And then there was a long pause, and he said, "Lois, when can you start?" I was flabbergasted. I didn't want to go job hunting, and now I didn't have to. So I got a job I knew, and my pay was what I wanted. Was that God guiding me? Somebody was guiding me. So I got back to work with the engineers, and I was there for about 6 months, and someone suggested that I apply at the local community college. They were looking for an executive secretary to the district president. And I said, "Whoa, I don't even have a college degree. There's no way I can handle that job." But I kept getting encouraged to at least apply. And I thought, okay, to keep them quiet, I'll just apply. So I went through the process, and strangely enough, they hired me. And again, my salary doubled. I thought, oh right. But soon I discovered I could do that job, and I did it well for almost 20 years. But again, I'd been guided. Over the next couple of years, my life began to stabilize. It was one of work, of learning, of play, and travel. Oh yeah, that dormant travel gene was activated. So, living in Seattle at the time, I first gravitated towards places where there was sunshine and beaches. So I went to Hawaii several times and down to Mexico. Then I traveled to Sweden and met my cousins. I took a trip to Europe with my son and his family, and I could see Europe through my 8-year-old granddaughter's eyes. I was having a great time. And then my travel began to shift. I was drawn to go to Africa with Habitat for Humanity. We built a house in Malawi, and then we formed a choir, and we went to Zimbabwe, and we met with the people there, and we sang with them in churches and colleges. And then in New Zealand, I got to mix with the locals as well as we studied the flora and the fauna of that beautiful land. I sailed in the Caribbean, and I went to China for a month with the college. And then I worked in Japan for a while when the college was opening a branch campus there. My life was full. I was enjoying everything. And then one Sunday, someone invited me to go with them to a Sunday service at Unity. Okay, why not? Well, I was amazed. The minister was saying words like I had learned in Al-Anon. And that was the first time in my life that I began to regularly attend church. I couldn't get enough of it. I began taking classes, going to workshops, going to retreats. I was loving it. One of the classes, the facilitator of one of the classes that I was taking, mentioned that he was an Essene minister. I didn't know what that meant, but I did know I wanted to know more. So he asked if he could read to us the prologue to the Essenes worship service. And this is what he read. When God saw that his people would perish because they did not see the light of life, he chose the best of Israel so that they might make the light of life to shine before the sons of men. And those were called Essenes because they taught the ignorant and they healed the sick. And they gathered on the eve of every seventh day to rejoice with the angels. So I joined another group to learn about these people, the ancient Essenes. And I learned that they believed that Joseph and Mary were part of an Essene community in Qumran on the banks of the Dead Sea, and that Jesus spent his formative years there. They also believed in the tree of life, that the roots went deep into Mother Earth, and they were watched over by the angels of the material world, and that their branches reached up to the heavens, and they were watched over by the angels of the unseen world, and they communed with these angels on a daily basis. My heart was really embracing these teachings. I needed to know more. So I enrolled in a 2.5-year program to become an Essene minister. But now my travel began to turn to following the paths of the ancient Essenes, the ones that lived in Egypt and in Israel. I went to Egypt several times and took people with me to show them of it. And then I found some Essenes who were practicing in the south of England, and I went there 3 times to their summer school. And as a group, we go into the inner sanctum at Stonehenge and do ceremony and follow the path of the Druids. And I found other Essenes in the United States, in Oregon, and then in Canada. And then 2 of my friends talked to me about going to Europe and following the path of the divine feminine. So we spent a month doing that. We had Darshan with Mother Mira in Germany. We went to the Gypsy Festival to Saint Sarah at Saint Maurice de la Mer in France. And some of them were telling us that they believed that Sarah was the daughter of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. And we wanted to visit the caves where Mary Magdalene lived and taught after the crucifixion. So we arrived at St. Maxim's, but it was 2 o'clock and we hadn't had lunch. Well, almost forgot for a moment that you can't just go and get something to eat in France. So we went to a restaurant, and 2 hours later, we were on this path that we knew we had to hike to the top of to find the cave. So we were on a beautiful path like this that kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And soon we were at the top of the mountain. It was a plateau, no cave. But we did see a dwelling about 100 yards down the way. So we made our way over there, and sure enough, it was a small chapel erected to the memory of Mary Magdalene. But it was locked, we couldn't get in. There was a small foyer in the front with benches, and we sat down, and we said, well, each of us has got to pray and find a way. We want to see those caves, and we came all this way, Mary Magdalene. We want to see those caves. So we began praying, and when we opened our eyes, we noticed 2 young men just coming into view from the path that we had been on. And they came over and said, oh yeah, we went to the caves. They're about 5 minutes away. Let us take you. How did that happen? So anyway, I wanted to see about the healing of John of God, and I traveled to Brazil a couple times to see that. I did ceremony with shamans in Peru. And I felt like all these places I was guided to, because in times past, I think I've been there before. So I was doing some soul retrieval. Well, one of the requirements of the ministerial program was to learn Reiki. So Reiki is a hands-on form of healing, guiding the energy where it's most needed. Those who know me know that Reiki is definitely my passion. I've been a Reiki master for the past 25 years. I also facilitate a weekly Reiki circle, and that's been meeting for 24 years. Why am I so passionate about Reiki? When someone is receiving Reiki, usually they first feel relaxation and peace. In that state, the body can return itself to balance. And it's when its body is in balance that healing begins. You know, most of us lead pretty busy lives, so it's easy to get out of balance. Since Reiki heals holistically, it can provide peace and serenity, reduce stress and pain, and support healing on all levels. I believe that Reiki is a powerful way to open hearts. And the more people living from their heart, the sooner we'll know peace on earth. So just to recap my journey so far, I believe the seeds of travel were planted in my childhood. I spent 20 years in a marriage before I was willing to seek a different path. And once I said no to what was happening, I could say yes to possibilities. And I began to hear my angels and my guides. I was led to Al-Anon. I was led to my first job after the separation. I was led to a better job then. And I began traveling again for fun, and then for cultural experiences, and then for spiritual connection. I was led to unity. I was led to the Essenes. I was led to become a minister and led to Reiki. Who was leading me? That part that is greater than myself, which I call God. I'm not a spiritual master, and I'm not convinced that getting there really matters. What really matters to me is I follow that guidance, that I know I can ask for help. I'm choosing an easier path today, one where there's a lot less resistance from Lois. I'm grateful for this guidance and grateful to be where I am in the expression of my most divine self. So thank you for letting me share this morning, and if you're willing, I'd love to take you on a little journey through meditation. So why don't you just take a moment, get comfortable, and breathe. And just feel your body beginning to relax, letting go. And think about that power that is greater than yourself, and call it into you. You might call it your guardian angel, your guide, God, presence, or the divine. And just feel that presence with you now. And take a journey back to your childhood. Were you one of those people who were lucky enough to have an imaginary friend? And if so, what was that like? Did you know about angels in your childhood? Did you know that there was someone there to help you along that way? And when you were a child, did your family go to church? Or did it have certain spiritual practices in your home? And as you became an adult, did you feel that you were guided? That there was always someone there with you? Perhaps there was a time when you had a big decision to make. Should I get married or not? Should I take my vacation in December or June? There's all kinds of decisions. Did you feel you were guided to the right one for you? Perhaps there was a time you had a health scare. Was there something greater than yourself guiding you through that? And how are you today? Are you comfortable asking for help or sending out prayers? Do you listen better today than you did when you were younger? Do you like to take the easy way? And can you accept where you are spiritually today on your journey toward mastery? Can you be grateful for how far you've come? I am grateful for how far you have come, and I commend you for every step of your journey. So let's just take a moment and say thank you, thank you, thank you for this journey. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much. Lois, that's fabulous. My goodness, I didn't know all those things about you. I should have introduced you as Reverend Lois Valleau. You don't talk about that enough for me to remember you that way. All right, I'm going to. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for putting all that together for us and sharing. And so let's close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Yes, thank you, God. And we'll close with "We are one." Okay. We are one. We are one. I am you. You are. June. I don't know if we are going to be meeting in June yet because the country club has not been opened yet. So stay tuned. We'll let you know as soon as we hear things. And if you are so inclined, I would love to hear your opinions. If you want to, if you could respond to the email and just kind of let me know where you're at with, are you ready to get back or what? I'd love to have your opinion on that if you want to share. So again, thank you so much, Lois, for
My pleasure.
having us in your home and for sharing so much. It was beautiful. God bless you all, and we'll talk, maybe even see you next week. I don't know. But anyway, mwah, love you. Take care.